So students, in the last video we saw some details about the Fourier expansion of a periodic function. So mathematically we can write that expansion as if ft is the periodic function of period 0 to 2 pi, then the Fourier series expansion will be containing, or we can divide that function into its DC quantity plus the AC quantity that can have fundamental as well as harmonics. Now this term over here deals with the even harmonics, and this term deals with the odd harmonics. Now if we are having a 50 Hz supply, for example, then the DC component will be zero. And what about the AC component? The first harmonic will be 50 Hertz, right? The first harmonic will be the fundamental and it will be of 50 Hertz and it will belong to this criteria, this category. Okay, and second one or the second harmonic will be this one. It will be even harmonic. So 1, 3, 5, 7, these will be odd harmonics. 2, 4, 6, these will be even harmonics. Now further, these magnitudes A0, AN and BN can be defined in these by these functions over here. Okay, so in some books you will find like this, in some other books you will find in another manner. More or less the meaning remains the same. Okay, so just for revision, you can solve this problem. I hope that you have done a course on engineering mathematics, so it must not be difficult to solve this type of function. Now coming to total harmonic distortion, it basically speaks of the harmonics that are in addition to the fundamental. Okay, so we are having a fundamental quantity plus the harmonics. Okay, we are not talking about a DC component over here right now. The DC component we are considering it to be 0. Okay, so it is the measure of the harmonic distortion present in the signal or voltage or current and is defined as the ratio of the sums of power of all the harmonic components to the power of the fundamental frequency. So this index shows the contribution of the original frequency in comparison to the harmonics taken in all or taken as total. So what we can do is we take all the harmonics, square them and take the under root, divide by V1 square and then under root of that. So it will again be V1. So this is nothing but the THD. There is another derivation. You can just go to some power electronics book and see how this derivation comes through. So total harmonic distortion basically is defined as this. There are other things also that like for example weighted THD and other terms, terminology is basically that helps us define the distortion in the waveform. So right now we are concerned about THD only. For higher studies you can consider those parameters also, and moreover you will be discussing about weighted THD and all when we will discuss the inverters in power electronics second. So now coming to the main circuit that we are going to deal with in this course is the AC to DC converter, and that too by using thyristors. Okay, so we are having AC supply over here and we are having a load over here. So normally this is an AC load, AC source which is having a waveform like this, and at the output we are having a DC load. But the thing is that we need a constant DC supply, and you remember that when we are having rectifiers with us, right? When we are having rectifiers, for example, if we take the full wave rectifier, right? So remember, just recall that this waveform resembles the output waveform of the half wave rectifier, right? So our rectifiers basically the average value of this voltage is DC, right? It is having a DC component, but the thing is that it is not pure DC. It is containing certain ripple in it, right? So we need to define a ripple factor in this. We need to define ripple factor in this. Now we are using certain switches over here, diodes or thyristors over here. So what happens is the input current basically distorts. The input current becomes like this, for example. There are many there are many applications that do this to the input current. So we have two things over here. We will come to the ripple part later on. We are considering the power factor first of all. We have already learned what is the power factor. Power factor in terms of non-linear loads, linear loads basically, we are having displacement power factor. That means if we are having resistance or inductance or capacitance, then what happens? If it is a resistive load, then the voltage and current will be in phase. If we are having an inductive load, then there will be a displacement of pi by 2, and in the inductor case it will be lagging, the current will lag the voltage, and in the capacitor the current will lead the voltage. So there will be leading and lagging power factor, and this type of power factor is basically known as the displacement power factor. Okay, now in power electronics we are having a wave shape of the current that is not purely sinusoidal, like this, right? It is not purely sinusoidal, it is having a fundamental component plus certain harmonics in it, right? So non-linear loads change the shape of the current waveform from pure sinusoidal to some other form. This waveform will contain a fundamental and the harmonics. So major non-linear loads, what are the major non-linear loads? Rectifiers, like we have normally LEDs in our homes, fluorescent lamps, electric arc furnaces, welding equipments, switch mode power supplies, the supplies that we give to the our computer. We are having CPUs, right? And in that CPU we plug in the single phase supply, but the components that are inside the computer work on DC, so we need an AC to DC converter. So that component over there, that AC to DC converter, is nothing but the switch mode power supply, SMPS. So if you open the CPU, you will find the board that is known as the motherboard, and then we are having SMPS over there that converts the AC to DC. Then we have variable speed drives. All these things, because they are being run by, or they are the major role that is playing over here is the power electronics. So the non-linear loads tend to bring in the harmonics in the current. So distortion power factor is the distortion component associated with the harmonic voltages and currents present in the system. Distortion power factor is the distortion component associated with the harmonic voltages and currents present in the harmonic system. Now how can we define this in mathematically? So distortion power factor is nothing but the RMS value of the fundamental component and the RMS value of the whole actual waveform. Basically, this RMS value of the actual waveform can be calculated using the multimeter. Okay, and of course we can write the RMS value of the current as I1 square plus I2 square plus I3 square. That means the RMS value of I1 square of that plus square of the RMS value of I2 plus square of the RMS value of the I3, and so on and so forth, and under root. When I just take the I1 square outside, I will get this term, and I can write distortion power factor as 1 upon 1 plus THD square. So overall power factor should be the multiplication of the distortion power factor and the displacement power factor. Okay, and so the actual power factor, the true power factor, can be defined as the cos phi, which was the displacement power factor, into 1 upon 1 plus under root of THD square. Sorry, this is wrong over here. Let me correct it. Let me correct this. This under root should come like this. Okay. Now coming to the ripple factor, which is very important. So ripple factor, what happens is, for example, if we take the half wave rectifier over here, in order to have, so when we are having half wave rectifier, this will be the output waveform, right? For half cycle, the output voltage, the input voltage will come across the load, and for another half cycle, that means the negative cycle, the diode will be reverse biased. And I am talking about the condition when we are not having this capacitor. So in this negative half cycle, this will not conduct. The diode will not conduct, and there will be no voltage across the load. Let me write it down over here so there will be no confusion. This is nothing but the V output. Okay. Now, in order to smoothen out this voltage waveform, what we do is we apply capacitor in parallel with the load. So what happens is the capacitors charge and discharge. So in the positive half cycle, it will charge like this, and then it will discharge like this. So this voltage will appear across the load. Now what is happening? We have reduced the ripple in the output waveform, right, by introducing the capacitor across the load. So what this capacitor is doing, it is filtering out the harmonics or the AC component from the circuit. It is only allowing the DC component to propagate through it. So now here we are having this voltage waveform. So the filtered output of the rectifier contains ripples. Now still there are certain amount of ripples in this waveform. Of course, the ripple in this is large. In this waveform, the ripple is large. But here, after applying the filter, there still remains a ripple. These ripples are due to the charging and discharging of the capacitor. Ideally, it should be pure DC value. Okay. So larger the capacitor, lesser will be the ripple. Larger the capacitor, lesser will be the ripple. Lesser the ripple, more effective the rectification process, because our aim is to basically convert this DC into pure, if this AC into pure DC. So the amount of, as the amount of ripple reduces, the rectification will become more and more beautiful. So now how can we define this ripple factor? Ripple factor is defined as the ratio of the RMS value of the AC component, okay, or the ripple component, RMS of the ripple in the output waveform to the DC component in the output waveform. So we are having this DC component over here, and we are having certain AC component or the ripple component. So I can define it as ripple factor is equal to I RMS of ripple upon I DC. How can I define this? The RMS value of the ripple component, I can define it as the actual RMS value square minus I DC square. Okay. So for half wave rectifier, what is RMS? It is Im by 2, and what is IDC? Im by pi. This I will derive in the next video. And here it is the peak value. Over there I will be taking the RMS values. So don't get confused by them. Okay. So RMS value of the ripple comes out to be this. If I get the RMS value of this, then the ripple factor comes out to be 1.21. This ripple factor is denoted by gamma sometimes. Okay. So this is now up to you, because of course you can derive this and get the ripple factor as 1.21 for the DC or for the half wave rectification. Now here, to calculate the ripple factor, RMS value of the ripple, I have not taken that waveform, this waveform, this orange waveform. Rather, I have taken the unfiltered waveform, okay, or the waveform that was without the capacitor. So in that case, the ripple factor comes out to be 1.21. Of course, when I will calculate the ripple factor for this orange waveform, it should be very less than 1.21. Then come to the form factor. Form factor is basically the RMS value upon the DC value, as you have learned in the first year. So it comes out to be 1.557 for half wave rectifier. I have again derived this in the next video. So for every waveform there can be a form factor and can be derived as above, but a certain value of waveform does not define the shape of the waveform. What do we mean by this? For example, if we are having a waveform that contains harmonics and different components, or it has certain wave shape, so using that wave shape we can derive its form factor. But if somebody says that the form factor of such and of certain wave is 1.21 for example, can you draw this wave? There can be infinite number of waves that can have a form factor of 1.21. Okay, so for a particular waveform there can be we can calculate the value of form factor, but if we are having a form factor that does not define a certain wave shape. For example, one can of course this is the same repetition, but still it provides an index by which we can compare our results. For example, one can definitely say that a waveform having a ripple of 1 is better than the ripple of half wave rectifier, right, which is 1.21, as I said earlier. So again, the ripple factor, if I just take this ripple factor, the formula of ripple factor, okay, here, this one, and I compare it with the form factor, I will be getting this formula. The ripple factor is equal to form factor square minus 1 upon or the under root of form factor square minus 1. This you can do yourself by using the formulas given above or the expressions that are given above. So I will stop the parameters, the discussion of parameters over here. From next video we will be discussing about the half wave rectifiers, controlled half wave rectifiers.